Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Mad Tinkerer Gaming with me, your host, Mad Tinkerer. I'm back. Sorry it's taken a little while to do some videos, but shortly after I did the last video, I got a little sick, so I was kind of bedridden for a little while, and I didn't feel like coming to you all completely nasty was a good idea. So anyway, you'll have to bear with me. Forgive me a little bit. I do have a drink here, so if I get a little parched or whatever, and my voice is a little weak, so I'll try to speak up a little better, but it is the middle of the night. I wanted to get this video out because I'd been asked before in a previous video to do a beginner's guide. And well, I'm not sure if a beginner's guide is what people really want because one, everybody plays the game differently. So a true beginner's guide, I don't like that notion where you're telling somebody you have to play this way and this way and this way to build up what you want. But I do get asked a lot, what would be a good progressional way to build stuff. And early on, when everything came out, it was a natural progression because you'd build a team and then they'd introduce another team. But now, as a new player, you're going to come in and you're going to be overwhelmed with a ton of teams and a ton of characters to play. So, going over some stuff with my alliance, we decided we'd put together a little log of things that will benefit you, and from our aspect as to what we look at as players and how to progress even in an early setting. Most of us enjoy raiding and we enjoy dark dimensions. Now if you don't know what dark dimensions is, when you scroll through here, it used to be called Enter the Darkness and Fear of the Darkness, but it's Dark Dimensions 1 and 2 right now. And this builds up a lot of good purple gear, yellow gear to help you work towards T13ing your characters so that you can come over here and get Ultron. Dark Dimensions 2 gives you Ultron. And I know a lot of people in the game really want to have him, just like they want to have Phoenix. Now to get to him, though, requires a lot of thought. And when you first start out, being able to plan what you want to get there is always a key part because everything's very limited. Gold's limited, training orbs are limited, all of this stuff, and it's very expensive to T13 a character. And then now, at the point they're getting ready to come out with Dark Dimensions 3, it's going to be even more expensive. So from our perspective, most of us are trying to gear towards Dark Dimensions 3. And if you've watched the vlogs, Dark Dimensions 3 is going to be a 16 node event where all your characters have to be T14 to go into it. It's going to be divided into 4 sections. Each one of those will be 4 nodes each. The first 4 nodes, any T14 characters, and then you'll have a cosmic, global, and a city section of 4 nodes each. So for most people, you're going to want to do Dark Dimensions 2, Dark Dimensions 3. So as a starter player, you need to start focusing as to what you're going to build into. And for that reason, we came up with a couple of teams for each one of those things, which will help you be able to build towards going into that. So I'm going to give you 2 city teams that we've discussed, 2 global teams, and 2 cosmic teams that we feel people can enjoy and play with, and then they'll be able to build you into other things like U6, which is where we've been getting a lot of rare things. Now U7 is something that I'm not sure I like playing U7. I don't know if it's worth it. We're struggling with it as an alliance, so it is very difficult. I feel like the jump from U6 to U7 is way higher than it needed to have been, but that's for another video. Right now we wanted to talk to you about creating teams to progress. Now I'm going to bring up some of my roster here. Now like I'm saying, you're going to have different events, and the hardest one for us to have discussed so far is the city. City events, they're kind of underwhelming, and when you look at the whole city roster, there are very few city builds that have healing, and there are 2 trains of thought when you go into doing a raid. It's either I don't have all the extra resources, so I need a healing team to keep on progressing through so they can heal themselves and go to the next level. Or if you have the extra stuff like the extra cores and the orbs and things like that, just power your way through it. So you have like the hand has a healer in it. Night Nurse is a healer, but she's kind of ineffective right now. She doesn't really fit into anywhere. But the big one that everybody knows about is defenders. Okay, there's 4 key defenders: Iron Fist, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. And they have a heal capacity to them with Iron Fist and Luke Cage. They synergize very well. And this is one of the ones that I believe would be something you could potentially take into a city aspect once they're T14 as a healing group. And they're very early on as a player. So as a beginning player, you'll be able to get these guys, and they are all farmable. They all have nodes you can pick up. Like Iron Fist is in Nexus 1-9, Daredevil's in your arena stores, Luke Cage is in Blitz and Heroes 3-3. Jessica Jones has 2 nodes in Villains 2-9 and Nexus 4-9. Now, those are just the 4 basic defenders. You get to run an additional person with them, and most people pick the Punisher, who is also farmable in Heroes 1-6. So all of them come early, and they can get you through the Heroes campaigns and start to progress, and they'll unlock some villains for you to do the villains campaigns. And it's really good to have them as a starting guide. And I would suggest building them up. They are great as an early blitz team, good in arena early on, and they are a solid war defense. So they have multiple aspects to them that will help you as a beginner player. The second team in the city that my alliance likes is the Sinister Six. Now, for the rating aspect, they're not exactly the greatest because they don't have a heal component to them. So that's what we're debating around right now. They're very strong as far as an attack base, but they don't have a heal base. However, as a beginner, they are villains, so it will help you unlock the villains campaign, and they are all farmable. So you can find them throughout the course of your runs. They will either be in stores or have their own nodes. They are a very strong team, and they're easy to collect. Plus, another huge benefit as a beginner is you're wanting to eventually unlock your legendaries, right? Well, this team unlocks 2. It unlocks Shuri, and it unlocks the Invisible Woman. So, the Sinister Six is a great city team. So those are 2, if you are a starting guy, that we advise building up. Particularly if you're wanting to move into a T14 situation like Dark Dimensions 3, which is going to be an unusual run. We're going to have to see how that unfolds once it's available to us. And this way, you'll be doing pretty good. You'll be able to unlock 2 big characters, which both have aspects to use in Ultima 7, specifically Shuri partnerships with Falcon or the Invisible Woman. They're all built around getting to Ultron and building Ultron up and going into U7. So those are 2 good city teams to work on if you feel inclined. And there may be differences, and we're always looking for more input. So if you have some ideas for extra city teams that are potentially built up to where we could T14 them up and go in, but we've discussed it, and these 2 seem the best options just to have a build up. Also building up 2 teams into a T14 situation, which will require a lot of money anyway, as far as gold components and training components and time and gear. So selecting them now early on is good, and these are the 2 that we're going to try to work on and see if they will continue into this. Now, to move on to the next component, we were discussing these things, and Cosmic's the one I want to go over next. Now, as far as Cosmic goes, I feel the Guardians of the Galaxy are like the best bet, hands down, to promote for a Cosmic build for early on characters, or early on people playing. One, they're kind of a self-contained unit, and you get the legendary Star-Lord by having the Guardians. You don't have to build an extra team outside of the Guardians to get your Guardian Legendary, which makes it very useful. And Star-Lord is a super useful character, highly powerful character. Now, they're falling out of favor. They're not the top team. They're not X-Men or whatever. But as far as a cosmic build goes, they are all farmable characters. You can find them in everything. Drax is normally in your arena store. Rocket Raccoon is normally in your raid stores. Groot has Nexus 2-9. Gamora and Manus are both in your Blitz. And once you build all of those up, you can get Star-Lord. Now, when you're building these up, Rocket Raccoon and Groot are huge. So please make sure to focus them until you get to the Star-Lord. And Drax and Mantis are the other two I would suggest focusing on. Gamora is useful early, and she has a good build synergy with brawlers right now. I mean, you can stick her in a brawler team, but most of the time when you eventually end up running this team, it's going to be Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, Groot are your focus, and then you can have Mantis and Drax in there. But one of the other key points about building Guardians of the Galaxy is those same initial three characters there, Star-Lord, Rocket, and Groot, will all be able to be used to build up your BKT when you eventually get Minerva and Thanos. And BKT is a huge team. It will carry you through Dark Dimensions 1, it can get you through Dark Dimensions 2, and get you your Ultron character. It can walk through Ultima 6, which I'll show you here in a little bit. My team is way overpowered for Ultima 6, but it's pretty much just a basic walkthrough. So once you get a BKT team around 200k, you can walk through Ultima 6 and just start racking in the components you'll need to build future teams. The second team that we thought of cosmic-wise that is a solid team is Kree. Just the basic Kree team. Now, Kree itself, I mean, you can get Ronin. I'll even bring them up here real quick so that you can see them. We'll just go to Cosmic so that you know they're in there. Alright. Another big team is Kree to start with. Now, they're not a top team. They're not up there super high, but they have some unique builds and builds around them that are really beneficial. Some of them are right now in the process of being able to be tweaked out to where you can potentially go in and work against Asgardians. The Kree team is pretty solid, and all of them are easily farmable. Okay, they're either going to be in your stores, they're going to be in a node, and particularly the ones I want to focus on are the basic ones: the Noble, the Oracle, the Reaper, the Cyborg, and your Royal Guard, the Kree Royal Guard. Once you get those 5 and you build them up to a 5-star process, you can get Nick Fury, who is another excellent character, another legendary unlock. So these Kree teams will give you your legendary unlock there. And it's useful because Nick Fury is a really good character, and he goes into your shield units to build a good defense. Now, Kree are offensive unit. I wouldn't put them necessarily as a defensive unit in war, but they serve a purpose there. You can build Ronin, Captain Marvel, Minerva when you get her. Ultimus, if you do have him unlocked, is super strong with the Kree units. So right now, those type of things are something to build early on. So early on as a character progressing in the game, we're suggesting to build Kree and Guardians of the Galaxy as cosmic. I would put Guardians over Kree just because I love BKT, and you can get the self-contained aspect. Building the Kree lets you get a legendary that's outside of the Kree unit, lets you get Nick Fury, and it's good. It'll unlock that. Also, these teams that we're talking about are all used in Greeks. So not only are they able to be used in the Ultimus raids that you're going into, but they get used in the Greek raids later on. Like when they're broken down into different team sections, most of them are going to be Shield, most of them are going to be Kree, most of them are going to be Guardians of the Galaxy, most of them are going to be Defenders, and you'll be able to build through those. And these 6 teams will help you do your Greek raids. the alpha, beta, and gammas. Now, that gives you your 2 cosmic teams in Guardians and Kree, and through that you'll be able to build up BKT eventually. Now, the final one we're talking about is global. Now, global has so many different aspects to build in, and it's amazing the amount of toons fall into the global category. I'm going to bring them up here so that you can see them. There are so many, and it's very vast. But when I was looking at easy builds, things that can be easily farmable, you're going to come across Avengers early on, which isn't a bad team, but they're not going to progress you as far as some of the other teams now. But one of the big ones that my alliance opened up was Shield. The Shield teams were some of the first ones to beat Enter the Darkness, which is now Dark Dimensions 1. They were very strong in Dark Dimensions 2, especially when you unlock Nick Fury from your Kree team. You can go in with your basic guys. You still have Captain America, Quake, Black Widow. All of them are involved in Shield, and help that out too if you have those to build upon. But just Nick Fury and the basic ones, and then eventually getting Coulson, the Shield aspect is really good, and they become a solid war defense as well, like a super solid war defense. But when you go down through here, and you're scrolling through a list of characters, and you get down through here, you're going to have your Shield medic, you're going to have your Shield security, and all of the Shield characters are easily farmable characters found early on and in various stages of the game. So Shield is one of them that we are going to recommend as a beginner to go ahead and process. The second one that I like a lot is Brotherhood. Brotherhood and X-Men, because X-Men is one of the top teams, but you have to kind of understand that Brotherhood's like a self-contained unit as well. Through the Brotherhood and maybe one X-Men person, you're going to be able to get Magneto, who's one of the top tier guys in the game. And all of the Brotherhood, other than Magneto, are farmable. They're easy to get a hold of. Juggernaut is a farmable character, and by farmable I mean they're either going to have a node or they're going to appear in a store. Now, you can choose which ones you want, how you want to order them, but I mean, it is going to be intensive as to what you get. Blitz stores are a little easier because you can just blitz a lot and get enough blitz coins to purchase 3 or 4 different characters at a time. The other ones you're just going to get in limited doses, like the arena store. But Mystique has villains 5, 6, Sabretooth's normally in your raid store, Pyro's normally in your war store, Juggernaut's in your arena, and Wolverine, which I'm going to put Wolverine out there, he is not in the Brotherhood, but he is an X-Men and a mutant, and you get him through doing your dailies. So most people will eventually get a Wolverine built up to the point where you can get Magneto. So Brotherhood and Shield are the 2 global teams that we're kind of wanting to fasten on, and when we do that, it's a solid attack team. It's really good. Where Shield's more of a defensive unit. But with the addition of this new guy here, Mr. Sinister, I believe you can make a very good raid team with the Brotherhood. Now, we've been nicknaming it Bro Rauders over here because really it's just you take Pyro out and you throw Mr. Sinister in. Potentially you could remove Juggernaut to put Strife in and make it more like Marauders with Magneto. But I feel right now, with Magneto in there, Mystique gets big boosts off of that. Mr. Sinister gets some extra boosts off of Mystique. And you could have that synergy for a T14 team later on. It's something that we're wanting to build into and test out. So if there's any extra information, if people are running those right now and testing them hard, can you please put that down in there to make sure that we're kind of on the right track for us as an alliance? We're always looking for feedback and information. And now, just to show you what I'm talking about by building up the Guardians, I'm going to go over here, and I think we have just started a Ultimus, and I hope I've got some energy here. So anyway, we'll go in here just so you can see some gameplay. I'm in Team 3 here. I'm going to join this up. Now, my BKT team is way overpowered, so this is just going to be a really good walkthrough. But I got this by basically building up Guardians of the Galaxy, and then I eventually unlocked Minerva and Thanos, and they are really good to use. So this team right here can just, at 200k power level, will walk through U6. So if you all are having problems with U6 or trying to get U6 to 100% as a starting guy, this is one of the teams that I would recommend building. It also works very well in the Enter the Darkness and Fear of the Darkness, which are now Dark Dimensions 1 and 2. So for this event, I'm going to go ahead and take Rocket Special and go ahead and shoot into him because I just want to eliminate the taunter. I don't like having to focus on somebody in particular. Their healer here is my second target because I don't like people that heal. That's just my opinion. It might not be how most people do. And Korath here does a heal block, which is really annoying. So I'm going to go ahead and hit him with my basic. I'm going to put up my taunt, which kills him, so I won't have to worry about getting any heal blocks. I'm not going to use any of the other big things because right now my team right here should be able to just wipe this through. Rocket can just hit his ultimate here, and all those 4 guys are gone. It took me less than a minute to walk through this one part of this, and U6, all of it will be like that. I could hit auto on this and just walk through. What's amazing for me is here I've got this team that's so high. They're all level 75 now. They're all T13. And when I go into U7, I struggle taking this team through the first 2 nodes. You know, you're going to, well, not necessarily struggle, but you're still going to spend heals on the first 2 nodes and the first boss. These guys get in there and then they get to that first boss and they just get obliterated. And this is a high-end team. It's not like it's a small team. Now right here, Rocket's already got his special ability, so boom, here we go. Wipe that entire group out. There's only going to be 2 characters. I believe it's like a Hulk and a Gamora. And I can just take Star-Lord here, shoot into both of them. I can finish off Gamora with a basic shot, which with Minerva heals everybody. Put my taunt up, so now the Hulk has to attack Thanos, which isn't going to do anything, and then polish him off with just some basic attacks, saving my energy for the next one. This is kind of a good basic team to build. This is what I'm talking about, taking your Guardians and building into something like this. This team has carried me very far. I've enjoyed playing with this team. It's an easy one to build up. 3 out of the 5 characters are super farmable, and if you don't have them, if you just run, instead of Minerva here, you put in Mantis and Drax, it's still a solid defense team. It's still a solid offense team. So you shouldn't have much to worry about when you build them up. That's one of the ones that I would highly recommend focusing on when you get the chance to. And the defenders. Shield is actually kind of, I'm teetering a little bit more towards Shield for your global because of its components to heal itself already and its synergies together. I believe that it would probably be one of the better ones if you're wanting to eventually T14 them all. Right now, though, I'd already put so much into my Brotherhood. That's the one I'm selecting to go ahead and T14 out and make my push into Dark Dimensions 3 when it comes out. Literally, it's selection on what you've already had the most invested into because it's going to come soon. Now, it doesn't mean that I won't eventually have to build up my shield to compete with it, but having these 2 different teams for each one of those sections should be good for you. And once I finish this out and burn out all my energy here, I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to let you all go about your day. But that right there is my BKT team, and it literally does. It walks through Ultima 6. So for people struggling in Ultima 6, this right here is the way to go. And it's an easy grind to build that team up. So with that said, good luck. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button and the bell icon there so you get notifications when I put up another video. And like I said, I wanted to apologize for being a little bit tardy in my last videos, but I was sick. I'm back now, and I'm hoping to be a little bit healthier. And I'll come out with another video probably over the course of this weekend to kind of compensate for that missed one that I didn't get to over the course of the first part of this week. So, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.